Would it be asking too much to like, share and subscribe? By doing so, you'll be part of a powerful mission to spread the truth of God's Word. Behold, the day is coming when the splendor of Jehovah will shine forth, shaking the heavens and the earth, and exposing the worthlessness of mankind's idols. On that day, men will flee to the cracks in the rocks and caves of the earth, trembling before the majestic presence of Jehovah the Almighty. His fury burns like fire, his voice thunders through the nations, and his judgment is unrelenting. This is no ordinary day. It is the great day of God Almighty, a day of darkness and light, destruction and salvation, justice and renewal. Through the words of ancient prophecy, Jehovah speaks of his unwavering purpose to bring judgment upon the wicked and to purify the earth, sparing none who refuse to honor him. Yet for the meek a promise remains. Those who call upon his name will be saved. As you witness the unfolding of this epic vision, let the words of Jehovah resonate in your heart. Keep yourselves in expectation of me, for my judicial decision is to gather the nations and pour out my indignation. By the fire of my zeal, the whole earth will be consumed. Zephaniah 3:8. Join us now as we delve into the scriptures that foretell the awe-inspiring day of Jehovah, the culmination of his righteous will and eternal sovereignty. In that day, men will take their worthless gods of silver and gold that they made for themselves to bow down to, and throw them away to the shrew mice and to the bats, in order to enter into the holes in the rocks and into the clefts of the crags, because of the terrifying presence of Jehovah and his majestic splendor, when he arises to make the earth tremble in terror. Isaiah chapter 2, verses 20 and 21. That is why the anger of Jehovah burns against his people, and he will stretch out his hand against them. The mountains will quake, and their corpses will be like refuse in the streets. Isaiah chapter 5, verse 25. Wail, for the day of Jehovah is near. It will come as a destruction from the Almighty. Isaiah chapter 13, verse 6. Look, the day of Jehovah is coming, cruel both with fury and with burning anger, to make the land an object of horror and to annihilate the land's sinners from it. Isaiah chapter 13, verse 9. Look, the name of Jehovah is coming from very far away, burning with his anger and with heavy clouds. His lips are full of indignation, and his tongue is a consuming fire. Isaiah chapter 30, verse 27. For Jehovah's indignation is against all the nations, and his wrath is against all their army. He will devote them to destruction. He will give them to the slaughter. Their slain will be thrown out, and the stench of their carcasses will ascend. The mountains will melt because of their blood. Isaiah chapter 34, verses 2 and 3. For this is what Jehovah says, the whole land will become desolate, but I will not carry out a complete extermination. For this reason the land will mourn, and the heavens above will become dark. It is because I have spoken, I have decided, and I will not change my mind, nor will I turn back from it. Jeremiah chapter 4, verses 27 and 28. And the dead bodies of this people will become food for the birds of the heavens and for the beasts of the earth, with no one to frighten them away. Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 33. Say, this is what Jehovah declares, the dead bodies of people will fall like manure on the surface of the field, like a row of newly cut grain after the reaper, with no one to gather them up. Jeremiah chapter 9, verse 22. They will die of deadly diseases, but no one will mourn them or bury them. They will become like manure on the surface of the ground. They will perish by the sword and by famine, and their dead bodies will be food for the birds of the heavens and for the beasts of the earth. Jeremiah chapter 16, verse 4. The anger of Jehovah will not turn back until he has carried out and accomplished the intentions of his heart. In the final part of the days, you will clearly understand this. Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 30. This is what Jehovah of armies says. Look, a calamity is spreading from nation to nation, and a great tempest will be unleashed from the remotest parts of the earth. And those slain by Jehovah in that day will be from one end of the earth clear to the other end of the earth. They will not be mourned, nor will they be gathered up or buried. They will become like manure on the surface of the ground. Jeremiah chapter 25, verses 32 and 33. They will throw their silver into the streets, and their gold will become abhorrent to them. Neither their silver nor their gold will be able to save them in the day of Jehovah's fury. They will not be satisfied, nor will they fill their stomachs, for it has become a stumbling block, causing their error. Ezekiel chapter 7, verse 19. For the day is near, yes, a day of Jehovah is near. It will be a day of clouds, an appointed time of nations. Ezekiel chapter 30, verse 3. Woe because of the day, for the day of Jehovah is near, and it will come like a destruction from the Almighty. Joel chapter 1, verse 15. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of Jehovah is coming. It is near. It is a day of darkness and gloom, a day of clouds and thick gloom like light of dawn spreading out on the mountains. There is a people numerous and mighty. Never before has there been one like it, and never again will there be another through the years of all generations. Ahead of it fire devours, and behind it a flame consumes. The land ahead of it is like the Garden of Eden, but behind it is a desolate wilderness, and nothing can escape. Joel chapter 2, verses 1 through 3. Jehovah will raise his voice before his army, for his camp is very numerous. For the one carrying out his word is mighty. For the day of Jehovah is great and very awe-inspiring. Who can endure it? Joel chapter 2, verse 11. Crowds are in the valley of decision, for the day of Jehovah is near in the valley of the decision. Joel chapter 3, verse 14. Woe to those who yearn for the day of Jehovah. What then will the day of Jehovah mean for you? It will be darkness and not light. It will be like a man who flees from a lion and is confronted by a bear, and when he enters his house and leans his hand against the wall, a snake bites him. Amos chapter 5, verses 18 and 19. Jehovah is a God who requires exclusive devotion and takes vengeance. Jehovah takes vengeance and is ready to express his wrath. Jehovah takes vengeance against his foes, and he stores up wrath for his enemies. Jehovah is slow to anger and great in power, but by no means will Jehovah hold back due punishment. His path is in destructive wind and storm, and the clouds are the dust of his feet. Nahum chapter 1, verses 2 and 3. For the vision is yet for its appointed time, and it is rushing towards its end, and it will not lie. Even if it should delay, keep in expectation of it, for it will without fail come true. It will not be late. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3. The great day of Jehovah is near. It is near and it is approaching very quickly. The sound of the day of Jehovah is bitter. There a warrior cries out. Zephaniah chapter 1, verse 14. That day is a day of fury, a day of distress and anguish, a day of storm and desolation, a day of darkness and gloom, a day of clouds and thick gloom. Zephaniah chapter 1, verse 15. I will cause distress to mankind, and they will walk like blind men, because it is against Jehovah they have sinned. Their blood will be poured out like dust, and their flesh like the dung. Zephaniah chapter 1, verse 17. Neither their silver nor their gold will be able to save them in the day of Jehovah's fury. For by the fire of his zeal the whole earth will be consumed, because he will make an extermination, indeed a terrible one, of all the inhabitants of the earth. Zephaniah chapter 1 verse 18. Before the decree takes effect, before the day passes by like chaff, before the burning anger of Jehovah comes upon you, before the day of Jehovah's anger comes upon you, seek Jehovah, all you meek ones of the earth. Zephaniah chapter 2 verses 2 and 3. So keep yourselves in expectation of me, declares Jehovah, until the day when I rise up to take plunder. For my judicial decision is to gather nations, to assemble kingdoms, to pour out on them my indignation, all my burning anger. For by the fire of my zeal the whole earth will be consumed. Zephaniah chapter 3 verse 8. For look, the day is coming, burning like a furnace, when all the presumptuous ones and all those practicing wickedness will become like stubble. The coming day will certainly devour them, says Jehovah of armies, and it will leave them neither root nor branch. Malachi chapter 4 verse 1. And you will tread the wicked underfoot, for they will be like dust under the soles of your feet on the day when I take action, says Jehovah of armies. Malachi chapter 4 verse 3. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light, and the stars will fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Matthew chapter 24, verse 29. Then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in heaven, and all the tribes of the earth will beat themselves in grief, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. Matthew chapter 24, verse 30. And I will give wonders in heaven above and signs on earth below, blood and fire and clouds of smoke. The sun will be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the great and illustrious day of Jehovah comes, and everyone who calls on the name of Jehovah will be saved. Acts chapter 2 verses 19 through 21. As you await and keep close in mind the presence of the day of Jehovah, through which the heavens will be destroyed in flames and the elements will melt in the intense heat. 2 Peter chapter 3 verse 12. Then the kings of the earth, the high officials, the military commanders, the rich, the strong, every slave, every free person hid in the caves and among the rocks of the mountains, And they keep saying to the mountains and to the rocks, fall over us and hide us from the face of the one seated on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb, because the great day of their wrath has come. And who can stand? Revelation chapter 6, verses 15 through 17. They are, in fact, expressions inspired by demons, and they perform signs. And they go out to the kings of the entire inhabited earth to gather them together to the war of the great day of God the Almighty. Revelation chapter 16, verse 14. And I saw the wild beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to wage war against the one seated on the horse and against his army. While still alive, they both were hurled into the fiery lake that burns with sulfur. But the rest were killed off with the long sword that proceeded out of the mouth of the one seated on the horse. And all the birds were filled with their flesh. Revelation chapter 19, verses 19 and 21. Behold, the great day of Jehovah Almighty approaches swiftly, a day of reckoning and awe. As foretold by his prophets, the world will witness his righteous judgments, and every knee will bow in recognition of his unmatched power and glory. Let the nations tremble, for neither wealth nor power can save from his fury. Yet in his justice, Jehovah extends a hand of mercy to those who seek him with humility and righteousness. Now is the time to turn to him, to call upon his name, and to walk in his light. For the faithful, his day will bring deliverance and vindication. But for the wicked, it will be a day of darkness and despair. Who will stand before the consuming fire of his holiness? Let every heart prepare, for the Almighty has spoken, and his word will never fail. May those who hear this message take heed and find refuge in the name of Jehovah, for his day is near.